Hi, it's Dana from the Tao of Dana, and it's almost Valentine's Day. And I have to give a big talk about love tomorrow to a whole bunch of people. So I've been thinking all the time about love and the power of love. And you might be as well because it's the season. No matter when you're watching this, love is always the season. It's always Valentine's season, really. But today I want to talk about love and the power of love and how to harness that power to make your life easier and better in every single way. Now, you might be thinking, well, I want my soulmate, or I want to find the love of my life, or I want to find more love in my relationship, or whatever it is. If you're living in more love, all that stuff tends to work itself out. If you're lower in the scale that we'll talk about in just a second, it can be harder because you're trying to mentally figure things out instead of being open to all the stuff that can happen in life organically and easily. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's talk about love in this way. Love is energy. It is not dependent on a single person, a single place, or a single thing. Love is equally available to every single one of us. It is here right now. It is everywhere, and it is for all of us, and it connects all of us together. So love is energy. It's a state of being. It is not just a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband, a wife, anyone, anything else. Love is a state of being. And that is really a sane way to start thinking about it, because when you think about love that way, you can see so many ways that you can bring more of that energy to your life, and all of those other things that you want to expand tend to multiply. So let's talk about the power of your heart. Heart math is one of my favorite things. It's an incredible science. I'll link more about it below. Heart Math is a nonprofit institute that studies the actual power of the heart and the energy of love, and how we can actually change the world with love in many ways. I mean, that's not their actual mission statement, but that's what I get when I read the stuff that they have studied. Check this out. Your heart itself has a magnetic field that is 100 times, at least 100 times more powerful than your brain. What does that mean? It means that your heart is shooting out a giant magnetic field around you, which is not woo-woo. It's not theory. It's actually studied and measured. This giant magnetic field. In fact, it's a magnetic field that can be felt up to 3 feet away from your body. So if you've ever seen anyone come into a room and you didn't even see them, but you just felt better all of a sudden, you didn't know why you felt better, perhaps you were picking up their emotions, because we always pick up the emotions of everyone around us. We feel the magnetic fields of everyone around us. Those magnetic fields are full of encoded emotions. We're shooting our emotions out around us all the time. So if you are living in more love and more happiness and more joy and all of these things, you're actually profoundly affecting in a positive way everyone around you physically, on a very physical level. How cool is that? It's so cool. You don't even have to say anything or do anything. If you just walk around in more love, you're having an impact upon the world in a giant way. That's pretty cool. Now, let's talk about the idea of frequencies. And there's so much stuff that you can read and hear and see about frequencies and high vibrations, but really, this is the basic thing. There's a lot of research that's been done on over 1 million people by David Hawkins, really brilliant stuff, testing energy frequencies of people in different emotional states. And they found that using a codified chart that went from 0 to 1,000, 1,000 being the most enlightened being on the planet, and 0 being just completely inert. All the emotions in between have been put on sort of a spectrum. And it's been found that when you're living in the higher bands of emotions, meaning reason, joy, courage, all the things that love, all the things that we find to be appealing and valiant and awesome and attractive, all of those states are states where things are easy. We have power. You are empowered when you are in love. Everything becomes expanded and everything becomes easier. If you're living in lower states like worrying about things, trying to compute things in your mind and figure things out and get really heady and start to get really bombarded and overwhelmed and all of those things that happen to all of us all the time, it's really important to catch ourselves and pull ourselves out of it fast, because as you go lower and you get into those fear and heavy and hard and wondering and worrying states, everything becomes force. And when you're in a state of force, things are really, really difficult. Not a lot of stuff gets done. Things don't get done as well if they do. And even if you do manage to function like this, you know that it's not sustainable. You get exhausted and burned out. You don't feel as good. So we want to stay as high as possible most of the time. It is not an all the time thing. We're all going to feel every emotion, and every emotion is good. But where you generally live should be in that high band where things are expanded and simple and more fun and just better all around. So here's the last bit of science that I found that's really important that I'm going to talk about tomorrow, but I'm talking about right now. And that is all the science that has been done that has proven that when you are happier, i.e. living in those higher frequencies, it is so much easier to make money. It's so much easier to have great relationships. It's so much easier to have a higher immune system. Happier people tend to have more abundant lives all round. And this has been studied extensively. There are thousands of scientific studies on the power of happiness. Happiness psychology is a really big deal right now. And yes, you can choose happiness. Just like you can choose love, you can choose happiness. It is the simplest thing you could do right now is just smile. Even if you don't feel happy, particularly right now, if you just smile, you will start to activate a bunch of things in your brain, a bunch of hormones in your body that will help you to feel happier. That's a choice. You can make all kinds of choices all the time. So here's a little quick feng shui to get you started in seeding and experiencing love everywhere you look, all around you, all the time. First thing is make sure that you are installing into your lifestyle those things that lift you up and make you feel awesome. I know I talk about this all the time, but it's funny that not a lot of people follow through with one thing that they allow themselves to do every day that makes them feel good. So please find at least one thing that makes you feel really good and do it every day for yourself. And especially the easier, the simpler it is, the better. If you have a really complex thing that you need to do in order to feel happy every day, chances are you won't follow through with it all the time. So find some simple things that lift you up and make them a part of every single day. That's awesome, and that's really easy. The next thing that's really important is to look around you and see that you see love everywhere you look. And if you don't see love everywhere you look, start making changes. Clean up messes. Make sure you don't see bad memory stuff. Just take a look around and let some stuff go. Donate some things. Clean some stuff up. Feel the love invested in your environment. Your environment is so powerful. It's a mirror of you inside. It's a mirror of your heart. It's a mirror of everything. So you want to just keep it full of love. You don't need to live in a perfectly designed mansion in order to have love every single place you look. Just invest your energy in a positive way in making your space as great as it can be. And then finally, check your emotional stuff. And if you find yourself getting into criticism or worry, but mainly criticism is something I wanted to talk about today. If you find yourself getting into a really critical place where one criticism then spirals to another criticism, when we start to criticize, rather than find things that we like or love about others and about other things around us, everything starts to shrink. We go down the scale. We become less effective. We become more force, and we become less flow. So do your best to stay high. Do your best to stay light. Choose happiness, choose joy, choose love as much as possible. And when you infuse your days, infuse your home, infuse your lifestyle, and even your thoughts and your words and your actions with all kinds of love and less of the other stuff, everything will transform. Things will be easier, brighter, bigger, and yes, all that romance and love and greatness will all flow in far more easily, and it'll be far more of what you actually want. So happy days of love ahead. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye.